guys, for today's video I want to kind of look back on a video that I did last year about brands that I wanted to try in 2019 and just tell you guys whether or not I ended up trying those brands and how I feel about the things that I did try. And I'm also going to have, either it might be up already, but I'm going to have a video of brands that I want to try in 2020 as well. If that video was already up, I will have that linked up in the corner, but if not, it is coming. So let's get into the brands that I said I wanted to try in 2019. The first brand that I mentioned in that video was actually Dose of Colors, and now that I think back, I'm like, why did I want to try Dose of Colors? Apparently I was intrigued by like their little monochromatic like quads or 5-pan palettes, you know what I mean? Like the ones that have like the mauves and the ones with the blues, and I don't know, now looking back I'm like, those are so boring. Why did I want to try those? Like I would never use those. Like that would be great for like one video and then they would just collect dust again. I don't know why I said I wanted to try that, but apparently I did. I didn't end up trying it, thank God, because I feel like it just wouldn't get that much use. But overall, like Dose of Colors is a brand that I definitely am interested in. I still want to try their liquid lipsticks. I don't know why I have yet to try those. I feel like every time I've been like meaning to pick up one of their lipsticks, they've been on sale, and then all of the colors that I wanted have just been sold out. So I've just been like, never mind, whatever. Like I don't really need another liquid lipstick. So it's never ended up happening. And now I'm like, you know what, I don't feel like I'm in a rush to really try Dose of Colors, but like if something comes around that I'm interested in, sure, I would try it, but it's definitely not rolling over to 2020 of brands that I would like to try somehow. So this already is like off to a very interesting start, because I feel like I didn't know exactly what I liked back then, because I was still very new on YouTube and new to like makeup in general. I've really only been into makeup for about 2 years or so, like seriously, so I didn't really know what I was doing back then. This is like a year and a half ago almost, maybe like a little bit less than that, maybe like a year and 3 months, so it's been quite a while since I made that video. So let's move on to the next brand on my list here. So the next brand is Davina. Davina is a brand that I've actually tried quite a bit from this year. I did make an order for single shadows from them like basically right after I made that video, and I also made a video on the shadows, and I was kind of like not sure how I felt about it. I still don't really like Davina's mattes. They're not my favorites. They're a little bit too just like dry and powdery, and I feel like, I don't know, there's something about them that I just don't really jive with them. But I do think that they have some beautiful shimmers, and I do think that overall like they're a really good brand. They're just not my favorites for some reason, and sometimes I just can't really put my finger on like what it is that I don't like about an eyeshadow, but I just don't have the best time using them. So I don't know. I mean, I do think that they are a great brand, and they do have some really, really cool releases that now looking back on, I wish that I had jumped on them, because I did have like the Exploders or whatever they were called, and they've come out with some really, really cool stuff in the past year that I've somehow skipped over because I've just had other things that I've taken priority, and I was like, I don't really need another new release that's like single shadows that I need to make a video on. Like single shadows is one of those things that I feel like not that many people are interested in, so unless it's something that I'm really interested in, I'm probably not going to review it. Whereas with palettes, it's like, oh, that's a pretty palette. Like I'm sure all of the people that are watching my channel are going to be interested in that. That's more of like an excuse for me to buy something, because I know that there's just more interest in palettes, so that's like how I kind of justify it sometimes. Not to say that I buy palettes that I don't like, because I am very picky with the palettes that I do buy, but it's just easier for me to skip over like singles releases than it is with palette releases. So I think that's the only reason why I've kind of like not bought a lot more from Davina. I did buy the bundle that they did in collaboration with Angelica, and I really like that. So I am happy that I was able to try the brand, and I'm definitely keeping my eyes on what they're going to do next year. I would absolutely pick up more from them. I do think that they have some really, really cool stuff. So that's definitely a brand that I feel like I got to know pretty well in the past year. Next up, we have another kind of single shadow brand, and this is Sydney Grace. I did make an order from Sydney Grace. I don't remember when it was, but it was also pretty quickly after I made that video, because I think I realized that, you know what, if I want to try those, I have to actually buy something from the brands in order to try them. So I did order a lot of things from the brands that I wanted to try after I made that video. So I did try, I'm so sorry if you can hear my husband out there making breakfast, but it's just how it is. But I did try the brand, and I really, really like everything that I've tried. I actually think that Sydney Grace has one of my favorite single matte formulas on the market. I mean, their mattes are just so easy to work with, and I just love them, but they also have a really good shade range, and I don't know, I really like the brand overall. So I'm definitely probably going to make another order from them at some point, because it wouldn't surprise me at all if they came out with something that I want to try. Next on my list is Sugarpill, and I remember in that video I was saying that the only reason why I haven't tried Sugarpill is just because I don't need that much eyeshadow. Like, I don't need eyeshadow pans that are this big. I'm not a makeup artist. I'm probably going to use that eyeshadow like at most 10 times throughout the year, so I don't need that much eyeshadow as a single pan of eyeshadow. But then they came out with the little fun size mini palette, and of course I had to get it because I mean the pan sizes is just right up my alley. Love this, love the colors in here, love the cat concept. I mean, this is just everything. I'm so happy I was able to try something from them. I've also tried some of their liquid lipsticks. They're not my favorites, but I don't hate them. They are very, very, very drying, but they do have some really, really beautiful colors. And I really hope that they continue on the trend with like small palettes, because if they do, like, I want to collect them all. Like, this is going to be like the next ColourPop monochromatic palettes for me. I just want all of the little mini Sugarpill palettes. So please, Sugarpill, come out with more of these because these are amazing. And I'm so happy I was able to finally try the brand after wanting to try it for so long. It literally took a whole year since I made that video until I was able to try Sugarpill, but I'm still so happy I was able to try them. The next brand on my list is a brand that I feel like we haven't really seen anything from since this release, and this is Pinky Rose Cosmetics. Pinky Rose Cosmetics came out with a bundle of 3 palettes late last year. This is what the palettes look like. I absolutely love these palettes. I think they're great. I will show them to you if you somehow haven't seen them, but this is the Obsessed palette. Love the color story on this. Then we have the 80s Baby palette, which is also just like so beautiful. Like, I love the idea behind these palettes. I think that they're so great. Love the size of them, love the quality of them. This is the Exotic Peacock palette. Absolutely stunning. And then I feel like the brand just kind of fell off of the earth. Like, what happened? Like,
where did they go?
I haven't heard them come out with anything really since this release. Like, I hope they're doing okay because I want to buy more things from them. If they could just come out with more things, that would be great. Thank you. But like, I don't know what happened to them. But I did obviously end up trying them last year, and I ended up kind of falling in love, and I think that they are such a great brand, and it makes me so sad that they've just not been around for a while. I really don't know what happened. If any of you guys know what happened to Pinky Rose, like, are they still doing okay? Like, I hope they are. But yeah, I mean, definitely a brand that I'm keeping my eyes on. If they come out with a new eyeshadow palette, I'll be the first in line to buy it if it's something that I like. But yeah, I don't know what happened to them. Another brand that I said I really wanted to try was Melt, and I have tried some things from Melt now, and Melt is a great brand, let me tell you. The first thing that I ended up buying from Melt was actually a palette that I didn't even buy for myself. I did buy the Smoke Sessions palette for my sister-in-law, and she was kind enough to let me borrow it for a video, and I kind of fell in love with that formula. Like, that palette was so good, and obviously I had to give it away to her, and I didn't end up like ordering it for myself again because it took so long for it to get back in stock, and by the time that happened, like, it was just kind of old news. So I did decide to skip on that, and then later in this year I ended up buying the Radioactive palette, which I thought was so-so. I've said this before, but I feel like it was falsely advertised. I don't feel like that palette is a neon palette. I feel like it's simply a rainbow palette, and so I just had my expectations set a little bit too high on that palette. But as a rainbow palette, I do think that is a really, really nice palette, and I'm very happy that I have it in my collection. And then just recently they came out with the Amor Eterno collection, which was just beautiful. I ended up buying the Muerte palette. I have made videos on that. I will have those linked up in the corner if you want to go check them out. After I tried that palette, I totally fell in love with it, and I ended up buying the Vita palette as well. I don't know if I'll have a video up with that before this one goes up, but I do plan on filming with that probably the day after I am filming this video. So like tomorrow for me, I'm probably going to film with that palette, and I'm so excited because it's so beautiful, and I'm so happy I was able to try Melt, because Melt is definitely one of like the brands that I feel like have the most potential to come out with very exciting stuff for me. Like, they're the kind of brand whose aesthetic is just, it's very what I look for in my makeup, and so I'm just excited to see what they come out with next year. The next brand on my list is actually a brand that I ended up not really liking, and this is Flower Beauty. Now, don't get me wrong, I haven't tried a lot of things from Flower Beauty. I did order a couple of things on Ulta like way back in the year, and I don't even, like right now, I don't even remember what I bought because I think I've decluttered all of it. I think I ended up buying a blush, which I thought it was so-so, and I'm not very picky with blushes, so I don't know why I didn't like that one. I feel like it was just like a weird color or it just wasn't pigmented enough for me. I don't really remember. And I also know I bought, what else did I buy? I bought a lipstick, a bullet lipstick, which I didn't really end up liking. It never ended up like laying nicely on my lips, so I ended up decluttering that one as well when I did my lipstick declutter. So I don't have anything in my collection from Flower Beauty anymore. If you guys really, really love Flower Beauty, do let me know what your favorite product is in case I want to try something else, because most people that I've heard talk about Flower Beauty seems to really love the brand, and so I feel like I haven't really given it like a fair chance. So if you want to see me like try some more stuff from them, do let me know. I don't know if I'm going to like their foundation though, because I do prefer matte foundations and I feel like their foundation isn't matte, but maybe I'm wrong and I just don't remember. But Flower Beauty, I wouldn't say it's a brand that's like rolling over to 2020 that I want to try more from. Like I'm pretty okay with like not having tried that many things from them, and it doesn't really intrigue me to try more. So I still am happy that I was able to try them because they are like a more affordable brand. And I know I don't feature a lot of drugstore brands on my channel, but it's just because I feel like I never have good luck with them unless it's like something that's been spoken so highly about that like it almost has to be good because of how much people talk about it, like the Maybelline Superstay foundation. Like everybody who has oily skin seems to love that foundation, so I knew I would love it and I bought it and I love it. But like in general, if I were to go into like Ulta and go to the drugstore section and just randomly pick out things that look intriguing to me, I always end up flopping. Like I just never end up liking any of the things that I buy. So that's like the main reason why I just don't buy a lot of drugstore makeup, because I feel like I end up buying for more money overall in drugstore makeup and products that I end up not liking than if I had just gone and bought like one more expensive thing from Sephora, you know what I mean? That could just be me, and maybe I've just gotten unlucky. But yeah, if you're wondering why I don't really feature a lot of drugstore products, that's why. I'm laughing looking at this list because I was like, why? What was I thinking? The next brand on my list apparently was Charlotte Tilbury. Like, why did I feel like I wanted to try Charlotte Tilbury? I guess I wanted to try the lipsticks. I mean, I have heard great things about their lipsticks, but like, they're expensive and I just don't want to spend that much on a lipstick. I don't know. Again, I mean, I guess it is like one of those brands that are so expensive that I want to try them because they're so expensive and see if they're worth the hype. But I don't know, like there's just not really anything about the brand that really intrigues me, because I just feel like I can get just as good products elsewhere, and I don't know, I feel like the aesthetic of Charlotte Tilbury is just almost a little bit too classy for me. Like I'm not a classy bitch, like I'm just not. Like, I mean, look at me, do I look like someone who uses Charlotte Tilbury? I don't think so. So with that said, I also don't think that Charlotte Tilbury is a brand that's going to be rolling over to next year. I still have yet to try anything from them. Don't know if I ever will, but you'll be the first to know if that ever happens. Next up on my list was Gway, and I actually do have a palette from Gway now, and this is one of their blush duos. I bought this in the summer though, and I didn't really feel like I could use it because none of these colors really showed up on me that well. So I've kind of been saving it so that I can try to use it more in the winter. So I think it's time for me to pull this out. This is the Rose Gold Blush Duo. Like I was saying, I didn't really like it when I tried it because I didn't feel like I got really any pigmentation out of it. So I'm excited to try this now that I don't have a tan anymore, because I feel like this is going to work so much better on me. And I also have like some kind of tiny little samples of their glosses and stuff, which I haven't really used if I'm being completely honest, because I did get those as a gift from someone who just didn't want them anymore. So I don't know, is Gway a brand that I want to try something else from? I don't know. I mean, they just don't really intrigue me that much. I feel like a lot of the brands on this list were brands that I kind of just like threw on there because they were brands that I hadn't tried without really thinking about like, will this brand ever come up with anything that's going to be for me? Because I feel like a lot of the brands on this list are brands that are just never going to really intrigue me and come out with something that's for me because of my aesthetic. So I don't know if Gway will ever be a brand that I'm going to be super excited about, but if they do come out with something in the future that I might want, I'm definitely going to be interested in trying it. But again, it's not a brand that really excites me anymore, so I don't really think that it's a brand that I'm going to be like focusing on in the next year. And lastly on my list of brands that I wanted to try was actually an indie brand, and I think that The reason why this brand ended up on my list of brands that I wanted to try is simply just because I found them on Instagram like a day before or something. And this is OMFG Cosmetics, and I just thought that the name was so cute. And I did end up making an order from OMFG Cosmetics, and this is the palette that I ended up buying. Now, two of the shadows in here are kind of loose, so I have to be careful when I show this to you, but this is their Fall Vibes palette. I actually really like this palette. I think the mattes are really, really nice, and I think the shimmers are like so-so, but I love the color story in this, and they were actually kind enough to send me a palette in PR not that long ago, so that was super, super sweet. Now, it's definitely not one of my favorite brands, but I do really like the owner of the brand, and I will absolutely support them in the future if they do come out with something that, you know, appeals to me that I really want to buy. But like I said, it's not my favorite brand, but I definitely am happy that I ended up trying them because I don't know, I mean, there's something about these little palettes that just like makes me happy, and it also just makes me happy to support small indie brands. So those are all of the brands that I said in my previous video that I wanted to try. So it'll be very interesting in a year from now to look back at the video that I filmed about brands I want to try in 2020 to see if I ended up actually trying them. But I feel like I know a little bit more now what I like in makeup and what I don't like, and I feel like the brands that I picked out are brands that are, I don't know, they're just like more for me, and I feel like there's a better chance of them coming out with something that I want to buy and more of a possibility of me actually buying something from them. So that's going to be all for today's video. If you want to see some other chatty videos that I've done this month, I will pop a few up on the screen. And if you're new to my channel, I would love it if you would consider subscribing, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.